Hi everybody, welcome into the Wolfman Gardening Channel. Today I want to go over 5 trellis ideas that you might be able to utilize in your garden. I know what kind of trellis I use in my garden, but this is just 5 and there's many different styles of garden trellises. But these are the ones that I'm going to go over with you today. The first one is going to be your wooden lattice trellis. And these work fairly decent. They look really nice, and if you're going for a nice decoration type, these vines grow on these very well. The only downfall that I've ever had with these is if you don't get a thick wooden lattice and try to go with a cheaper, thinner lattice, these tend to break pretty easy. And if you get um, anything very heavy on it, it can pull it down. So anyway, I use them and I grow my Malabar spinach on wooden lattice, and it does really well. There's many different ways to use the Malabar spinach, and it is a warm weather spinach because it's vine and it loves the warmer temperatures. Therefore, it's not going to be like your normal leaf spinach and bolt on you. Or another style of trellis that you could use, and it's real cheap, it's real simple, is to use the bamboo sticks. Now you can buy these bamboo sticks at your local hardware stores, and all you're going to do is you're just going to make a teepee. And I'll show you one right here. You're just going to make a teepee, spread the base out, stick them down on the ground, and just tie the tops. And these work really good. You can run tack string or whatever twine around the edge, and your cucumbers really love these things, grow really well on it. And another style is your metal arch, and I'll show you one here. This is what I use, and I use it a whole lot in my garden. And as I'll show you here in a little bit, we only have 3 panels up for the arch right now, but we're getting 6 more. So we're going to extend this on out almost the full length of my garden. Another one is wire mesh. Now, wire mesh is a little bit different than your cattle panels. Your wire mesh is going to be, you know, a little bit thicker than what your chicken wire. I think they call it goat wire, and I'll show some here. This stuff works fairly well. The only problem that I have with this is if I'm growing my cucumbers, if they get lodged a little bit inside of one of these holes aren't quite big enough, and I've had my cucumbers grow into the wire mesh. But all in all, you can bend and you can shape these into any size trellis that you want. The fifth one I'd like to go over are your wall mounts. If you're not going to grow a real big crop, and these also do really good on balconies, on decks, right off your porch, around the pool. I mean, you name it, these things work really good. And I like to use these, and I've used them before. I don't have any more because the ones that I had, storm come through and a tree fell on it and demolished them, and I just haven't replaced them. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into the garden, and I'm going to show you a couple of little trellis ideas that I'm going to use today. Get them ready to set up for a few of my determinate tomatoes, and also, we're not planting them yet, but the beans. Let's get started. We're going to lay out a few of these panels and get them ready for probably our determinate tomatoes. And right back here, we're going to set these up and get them ready for our beans. Now, these beans over here are going to be, they're not the purple beans. The purple pole beans will go on our arch trellis. So these are going to be the bush variety, which will only grow about this tall here. So we're going to, and I'll show you over here kind of how we're going to do this. These are just pieces of a cattle panel. They got the bottom parts cut off, so they'll actually stake in a little bit. That's probably not going to hold anything, so we're going to come in and we'll drive in a stake. Same with this one here. These were curved, and we repurposed them, straightened them back out, and we're going to use this. And this is where we're going to grow our determinate tomatoes, which probably won't get over 3 or 4 foot tall. Well, you're probably wondering where I come up or have all these little spare pieces of a cattle panel. Well, a couple of years ago, we built this fence and we put the cattle panels on. And as you can see here, we put a treated wood board down here and capped it off here. Well, the cattle panels come 50 inches tall. So that would make my fence a little bit taller. And I didn't want that, so I wanted them a little smaller. So I took and cut about 10, 12 inches off the bottom. Because I like to be able to come up and lean on my fence. I don't want it to be way up here. So that's how we end up getting some of these smaller pieces of the cattle panel. So let's go back to the garden. These right here are the drops that came off the fence. This is how much I cut off. And doing so, I took some of them and I bent them in an arch right in the middle. And you could use these to grow, you could grow your determinate tomatoes up this, just want to stake it down a little bit. But what we're going to do, what we did last year, this is where we're going to put in our bush beans. And like I said, they only grow about this tall, so these are perfect height. So in order to utilize this, we'll put 2 of these ones that we bent over, and we're going to come back in and we're going to zip tie a couple of these, maybe say like right in here. And when we zip tie those, one on each side, and we'll plant our beans on each side, and it'll have something to kind of climb on and help support it. Okay, now then, what we're going to do is we're just going to come up about halfway up here and help hold it on there a little bit, and got that one on. I'll try to put it about the same height. That way my OCD don't kick in. All right, and we'll probably we got some smaller zip ties in there, and we'll probably put those in here. And I'll show you right here how it ends up looking. All right, and there it is right there. Zip tied on, runs over to there. And since we're gonna plant beans right here, we're gonna take this thing, and it drips every 6 inches. Hello, Chalk. Welcome to the video. But we'll do that, and we'll put down through here, and then we'll plant our beans every 6 inches apart, and it should give us plenty of beans. All right, now these here, what we're gonna put an 8-foot cattle panel that we got, and we're gonna put it here and put it halfway up, and we'll probably end up growing either some determinate or maybe some indeterminate, maybe some that's not real aggressive tomatoes, and we'll grow them right in here. But it is starting to rain a little bit, so I don't know how much longer we'll get to be out here. And like I said, these T-posts here are fairly cheap. These little wings will only last about 2 years. So this is the 3rd year using them. As you can see, all of these little things are falling off. Now we'll go grab our panel. Now we're going to take 2 of these zip ties, and we'll zip tie this on there. Just like that. Should hold most of the year. Drive it down a little bit, push it down into the ground. We'll probably come back in, and we might come back in and put a tie a little smaller or a little lower down. And remember, we built these arch panels. Right now we have 3 up, and we're going to go 6 more down this way. And like I said, this is where we're going to grow our indeterminate tomatoes all of our cucumbers, and we're going to let them vine up. Our pole beans, which are the long purple beans. Any type of pole bean that likes to climb, we're going to grow on this. So with those three things, we should be able to plant on each side. And then off each side over here, we'll have rows of our lettuce, our spinach, our broccoli, peppers, and so on. So anyway, hope this video was useful. If so, like, share, leave your comments down in the bottom. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll answer as many questions as I can. So, like always, keep it growing.